Starting off our countdown at number 10 is Chris D'Elia. He was accused with some serious allegations, and why people find him so toxic is because he's gotten away with them. Earlier this year, he was caught messaging an underage girl trying to make plans with her to fly to New York to visit him. He claims he didn't know that she was underage, but she said her Instagram profile shows her age. He walked away from the situation hands clean, and it seemed like people just completely forgot about it. Fast forward to September, he was once again under a microscope after 2 more women came forward and accused him of exposing himself to them. Both women claim he exposed himself without their consent and performed sexual acts on himself. Chris's lawyer made a statement saying that Chris denies these allegations and states that he has never engaged in any sexual conduct with any woman without her consent. Again, these new allegations came in September and people have already stopped talking about it, which is clearly very toxic. And I don't understand. I don't get it. Up next, number 9 is Offset. He's been making a lot of negative headlines recently after it was announced that Cardi B had filed for divorce since he was caught cheating on her again. So some would say that a person who continues to cheat on his wife is a toxic person, but if that's not enough reason, his most recent news headline might be. The rapper was questioned by police while on Instagram Live last week while he was driving through a Trump rally. The cops said they received reports that he was waving a gun outside of the car window. He refused to get out of his car after they asked, so eventually the cops removed him, and at that point the live stream was stopped. Later on, the Beverly Hills Police Department tweeted a statement that clarified Cardi B's cousin, Marcelo Almanzar, who was in the passenger seat of Offset's car, was the one arrested for carrying a concealed weapon and carrying a loaded firearm in public. So it wasn't actually Offset with the gun, but he was still there and letting it happen. You know, still not a good situation. Rolling into spot number 8 is Britney Spears. The only reason she would ever be considered toxic right now is simply because the situation she is in is very confusing. It's hard to understand what exactly she is going through because the media has led fans to believe a few different outcomes. A movement was started online called Free Britney after people were worried that she was being held under strict restrictions from her father, who has full control over her life and finances. She started posting these strange videos and photos on her social media, and people said that she was using codes in her videos to ask for help. But then her sister made a statement online saying that mental illness is not a joke and that she is not being held captive or harmed. All we know is the legal battle Britney is facing against her father as her lawyer tries to get her back her rights to her own life and finances. Her dad was granted conservatorship in 2008 when Britney had her breakdown, but now they want to get everything back in her control. Cruising into spot number 7 is Mama June. It's honestly hard to consider her a celebrity, but she did reach heights of fame that no one really expected for her time on TLC's show Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. She was the mom in the reality show, and her personality won over the hearts of many people. But all of her fame and success came crashing down after news broke in 2014 saying that she was dating a 53-year-old sex offender who allegedly assaulted her own daughter, who actually came forward with these claims. TLC immediately canceled the show and people turned against Mama June, who continued dating him despite the claims from her own daughter. But she eventually moved on to another man, and that is when things got even worse. She was arrested with her new man in March 2019 at an Alabama gas station after police were called for a domestic disturbance. She ended up getting charged with felony possession of a controlled substance and drug paraphernalia and domestic violence/harassment. There's a lot of toxic things in that paragraph that I just read. Making her way into number 6 is Shannon Doherty. In the 90s, you would have seen her everywhere. She was taking on lead roles in Beverly Hills 90210 and Charmed. Stories surfaced saying that she was fired from Charmed after an ongoing feud that she had with her co-star Alyssa Milano. But that was never confirmed. All we know is that she left the show because of the feud, which was heavily documented for years. Fast forward to 2019, she reprised her role for the 90210 reboot, but got fired after getting into a physical altercation with her co-star Jenny Garth. So I see a pattern happening here. It's clear that she does not get along with people, or that there just has to be some kind of miscommunication and coincidence. But once things got physical, she was fired from the show immediately because she was the one who started it, apparently. Only 1 month after the incident, she was involved in another court case where she was accused of owing the bank around $36,000. So there's a few reasons why people might be skeptical about hiring her or even being friends with her. This girl throws down if she don't like you. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Ellen DeGeneres. 2020 has not been Ellen's year, and that is because she was attacked online all summer for allegedly not being as nice as she is on TV and having a toxic work environment. These claims started to surface after former employees and bodyguards came forward stating that the workplace was very toxic. But they only came forward after one of Ellen's guests, Nikki Tutorials, shared her experience on the show and said it wasn't what she thought it would be. She revealed that Ellen didn't even say hi to her before the show and that the overall experience wasn't as positive as she expected. The claims got so serious that her show was under investigation and 2 producers were fired from her show after they were accused of sexual harassment and misconduct. But Ellen's show somehow made it through and she's filming a new season right now despite everything. In her opening season 18 monologue, she issued a public apology and said that they were working on making their work environment a better place. Rolling into number 4 is Chris Pratt. The Guardians of the Galaxy star has been facing tons of backlash after one tweet started trending where people had to choose which Chris was the worst one. Amy Berg tweeted, "One has to go," and attached pictures of Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, and Chris Pine. The innocent joke turned serious real quick after Ellen Page called him out for supporting a religious organization that reportedly discriminates against the LGBTQ community. The organization is called Hillsong Church, and in 2015, the senior pastor wrote in a post that the church welcomes all people but does not affirm all lifestyles, including the gay lifestyle. Their words, not mine. And to top it all off, people exposed the fact that he might be a Trump supporter. He did not attend the recent virtual fundraiser for Joe Biden, which was attended by all his other Avenger co-stars. Though he hasn't openly said that he discriminates against the LGBTQ community or that he supports Trump, people are claiming he is more toxic than people realized and that he is just quiet about it. In the 3rd spot is Shia LaBeouf. There was a time when he was one of the biggest actors in Hollywood and didn't get involved in drama or controversy. But then that all changed and he was the center of it. Things seemed to take a dark turn for the actor in 2017 when video footage showed him wildly drunk and yelling racial slurs towards police officers who were arresting him. It was a hard scandal for him to defend because it wasn't just a story that he could deny. The whole thing was caught on camera and we got to see exactly what happened. After the incident, he was sentenced to 10 weeks of court-ordered rehab where he says that he learned that his violence and defensiveness was a result of post-traumatic stress disorder coming from an incident in his childhood. After that, he did have more controversial moments in his career, but he seems to be in a better place more recently. He was blacklisted for a while in Hollywood though, with one director saying that he is too much of a liability to hire him. AKA, he is too toxic. Moving on to number 2, we have Bill Cosby. Luckily, this toxic celebrity can no longer be spreading his toxins across Hollywood because his behavior had him locked behind bars. If you followed his highly publicized trial, then you would understand why he is considered one of the most toxic celebrities in Hollywood. His career came crashing down in 2014 when allegations surfaced that he had sexually assaulted more than 50 people throughout the years 1965 to 2008. After one woman came forward, it was a domino effect and other women came forward with their stories. Bill always claimed his innocence and battled the different allegations for years. But in 2018, he was found guilty for 3 counts of aggravated assault and then he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years in state prison. Now that doesn't seem like a long time if you ask me, like not enough time for his crimes, but since he's 83 years old right now, some people believe it's basically the rest of his life in there. Coming into our number 1 place is Chris Brown. People were wondering why Chris Brown wasn't included in the big who is the worst Chris debate. Because out of all the other Chris celebrities in the category, he is definitely the worst one. Or he should at least be considered. It seems like the world forgot the night in 2009 when he left his then girlfriend Rihanna bruised and bleeding. Now, he later admitted that their relationship was toxic and that the physical abuse was on both ends, but most people will agree that there is never an excuse to hit a woman. Chris did an interview after the altercation and fully admitted to punching her in the face that night, admitting that he felt like a monster after it happened. He was arrested after the photos and news stories broke the internet, and Rihanna actually testified against him in court. Some people were more forgiving towards him and saw it as a toxic relationship, while others saw his behavior as personal anger issues and very toxic violent habits. Starting us off at the number 10 spot is Jeffree Star. If you follow the YouTube community, then you know about the beauty guru even if you aren't interested in makeup. Even if you are a fan of him, he's always in the middle of every scandal, and recently he's been putting out fires everywhere in his career for a lot of harsh claims. He's being called a racist for past comments he's made. He was accused of knowing about the Davy Vanity sexual assault cases, and most recently accused of bullying James Charles and setting up that huge 2019 scandal to a point where James had suicidal thoughts. There is a lot to the drama because he's been a huge influencer on YouTube for years, but he's always the front man in every scandal, so we all can agree that that is a toxic place to be. Up next, number 9 is Perez Hilton. With his job, it's kind of impossible to not come off as a toxic person in Hollywood. He's a famous media personality who got known off his celebrity blogging pieces. His website covers all the latest drama and gossip about celebrities, and because he's the one dishing out the information, he often takes a lot of heat for it. I mean, we kind of do the same thing on our channels. Like, we cover the latest celebrity news, stories, and updates, and sometimes people come at us as if we're making up the gossip, but really we're the ones just delivering the news, like it's our job. But Perez kind of inserts himself in situations, like he tweets at celebrities causing these feuds, and he often just shares his opinion even when he's not asked to. So for more reasons than one, he could be viewed as very toxic. Cruising into number 8 is Kim Kardashian. Some people would argue that the whole Kardashian family, like in general, should be on this list, but Kim takes a lot of heat, especially being married to Kanye West, because we all know Kanye West and his erratic behavior. She recently received a ton of backlash after posting a video of her wearing a corset from her Met Gala outfit. In the video, her waist looks incredibly small, and people immediately started accusing her for setting dangerous body standards that could be dangerous to women and young girls that follow her. Even actress Jamila Jamil called her out publicly and accused her of being obsessed with her body shape and overall image. Maybe Kim doesn't realize how those types of posts could affect people, but it could be very toxic, especially for young girls who are influenced more by the media. In our number 7 spot is Chris Brown. He let the world know he was in a toxic relationship in 2009 when he faced assault charges from his girlfriend at the time, Rihanna. He pleaded guilty to the charges and openly admitted that they were both physical with each other, and said that he punched her in the face and busted her lip. Since then, he's always had an angry reputation, like getting kicked out of clubs, having feuds with other celebrities, and smashing windows in the back of a studio after walking off set because he didn't like the interviewer's question. Other celebrities have come forward saying that they just try to avoid him, probably for the best. Moving on to number 6, we have Lindsay Lohan. She was once one of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood, but struggled with an addiction that led to her arrest. She eventually got sober and moved to Dubai because she wanted to avoid paparazzi, and it is illegal over there. Fun fact. I don't think people had an issue with her addiction because we understand that some people struggle with it. It was her aggressive and erratic behavior that people just don't want to be involved with. She doesn't have a very good track record with other celebrities in more recent times, and because of her charges and reputation, a relationship with her could be toxic to their reputation. It looks like she is trying to make a comeback right now though, guys, so let's cross our fingers and send positive vibes her way, because I loved her and I would just, I would love a turnaround. I really would. Miss her and Amanda Bynes. I miss both of them very much. Halfway through at number 5 is Charlie Sheen. If you followed any of his behavior in recent years, then you would already understand why he is on our list. At one point in time, he was the highest paid TV actor in Hollywood, earning $1.8 million an episode, crazy, for his role on 2.5 Men. But then in 2018, he was admitting to Vanity Fair that he had been blacklisted. He said, "I've been unable to find steady work and have been blacklisted from many aspects of the entertainment industry. It was his addiction to drugs and alcohol that led him there after he had multiple trips to rehab, domestic violence charges against him by multiple women, lashing out at producers, and demanding a 50% raise on top of his $1.8 million an episode." Directors have said he is too much of a liability because his past behavior was so impulsive, but he has sobered up and there is a chance that he could turn his reputation around. Rolling into the number 4 spot is Azalea Banks. She's got a reputation for being a feisty little firecracker, and her temper has landed her in some trouble on more than one occasion. She has started storms on Twitter with her abrasive and offensive tweets, and she has been both physically and verbally aggressive in public. Allegedly, she's known as the party plague because she has been kicked out of numerous bars, parties, and even airplanes. She was investigated after she punched a security guard who was trying to remove her from a Los Angeles bar one time. Video footage of the incident led the LAPD to open a case against her. I mean, we all have that one drunk, aggressive friend at the bar, and like once they just start going off and getting aggressive, like we just pretend we don't know them. You know what I mean? I do that. Friends, they just try to look for fights and stuff, and I'm just like, you're on your own, I ain't trying to get involved in that. And I just pretend I don't know them. In the 3rd spot is Justin Bieber. The singer has done some damage to his reputation over the years, but at one point in time he had a clean record. Part of his career seemed to get out of control, and he was facing drunken misdemeanors like peeing in a public restaurant, skipping out on tabs, being removed from Coachella by a chokehold, and caught drinking underage. Fans also started to turn against him because they didn't like his attitude or behavior. He no longer took photo with fans. In fact, he actually yelled at fans who would try to take a picture or a video of him, and in one incident he allegedly spit on his fans. In more recent times though, after marrying Hailey Baldwin and moving to Canada, he seems to be under the radar and is kind of staying out of news headlines like as best as he can, unless they're good ones of course. Taking over number 2 is Farrah Abraham. She became famous from MTV's hit series Teen Mom, but as her career took off, fans started to question her parenting and didn't really agree with her behavior or choices. At one point in her career, she decided to star on Teen Mom and become an adult film star and entertainer. So of course, MTV could not allow her to stay on the show Teen Mom with children. So she ended up starting her own line of sex toys after that and underwent a ton of plastic surgery. The only press she gets these days is bad press because of her social media live streams. She gets butt injections, literally on her live stream, you know, like for promotion, shows her butt and everything, and her 11-year-old daughter Sophia is in the room with her, like talking about the butt injections. Her parenting choices are hers to make, obviously, but you can understand why people would see this as toxic. Earning the number 1 place is Shane Dawson. He first joined YouTube back in 2008 with a channel called Shane Dawson TV. His personality and funny skits at the time won people over, and he skyrocketed into fame, which led him to creating his own series called Conspiracy Theories with Shane Dawson. However, in this past year or so, he has been facing a harsh reality after people revealed old footage of him doing blackface, making racist comments, saying inappropriate comments about minors, and saying he sexually assaulted his cat. Now honestly, these are just a few of the controversies he is facing right now. What pushed everyone over the edge though was a recent video where he was performing inappropriate gestures towards a poster of Willow Smith when she was underage. Things are so bad for him right now that YouTube just canceled all ads across all 3 of his channels, which means that he is making $0 on any of his videos. Starting off our list at number 10, we have Leighton Meester. This one is by far one of the craziest celebrity birth stories I have ever heard. In 1986, Leighton's mom was in prison after being arrested for smuggling illegal substances out of Jamaica. Turns out she was serving her time when she was pregnant with Leighton and still had 16 months left of her sentence, which means that Leighton was born in jail. She wasn't physically born inside a jail cell, her mother was actually transferred to the hospital for the birth. The now Hollywood actress spent the first few months of her life in a halfway house before eventually being placed in custody of her grandmother until her mom's release. After being back in the care of her parents, they got divorced and faced a ton of financial struggle. But despite all the negative things in her childhood, Leighton does not hold it against her parents. In all her interviews, she says that they are good parents and she has a lot of good childhood memories. Moving on to number 9, we have Eminem. The rapper has has always been very open and honest about the dysfunctional childhood he had, which was filled with abuse and poverty. He describes his childhood as the scraping the bottom of the barrel kind of life after his parents didn't have a home and just dragged him around the Midwest, staying in different motels. His father, Bruce Mathers, deserted him and his mom when he was just a baby. As for his mom, Debbie Mathers, she was in and out of his life throughout the remainder of his childhood. She also had another son with another man, and at one point left Eminem with his great aunt and uncle, who just did their best to raise him. But even when he was in the care of his mother, he says that she was very towards him. He eventually went through school but got bullied so bad physically that he was in a coma for a few days. That experience later turned into his 1999 song called Brain Damage, if you've ever wondered. When he was just 17 years old, he dropped out of school and went on to chase his dream of a rapper, and the rest is pretty much history. But you should watch 8 Mile if you don't know how that happened. Up next, number 8, we have Soon Yi. Her life became one of the biggest controversies in 2020 after her relationship with her adoptive father became a lawsuit. She was born in South Korea around 1970 and actually has no birth certificate. Her approximate age was determined by bone scans. In 1976, she was found living on the streets, eating out of dumpsters before being adopted by Mia Farrow and Woody Allen, who had huge careers in Hollywood. Years down the road, when Soon Yi was in high school, Mia found inappropriate nude photos of her in her husband's home. The truth was later revealed that the two of them actually had an ongoing romantic relationship with each other, and that continued on to present day. They are now married to each other, despite being father and daughter through adoption papers. Soon Yi is now 50 years old and Woody is 85. This strange relationship opened up a lot of other secrets in the family, with one of his other daughters claiming that he also did inappropriate things with her when she was a child. As of right now, the lawsuits he is facing are still unsettled. Sliding into number 7 is Drew Barrymore. You would never know the struggles she faced in her childhood based off her successful career and always beaming smile. But her childhood was so dark and twisted that she was put into an institution at just 13 years old. When she was just 11 months old, she first appeared in a commercial and then booked the role in E.T. at age 7. Her parents struggled with their own addiction problems, and Drew picked up the habits on her own at a very young age. She revealed that she started pouring liquor over her ice cream when she was just 7 years old, and got drunk for the first time at Rob Lowe's birthday party when she was just 9 years old, all under the guidance of her mother. She went out partying with her mother up to 5 times a week, and at age 12 began trying illegal substances. She was fighting a drug and alcohol addiction by the time she was 13 and had undergone rehabilitation treatment for 18 months. Her father left her and just stopped being a part of her life, and when she got out of treatment, she filed for emancipation from her mom, so she was living on her own at 14 years old. As she got older, she worked at a local cafe and just continued to pursue acting. In spot number 6, we have Lindsay Lohan. Her childhood was spent in front of the cameras as her family had close connections to the show business when her personal career started out. Fans have seen Lindsay's personal struggles in her adult life, like her DUIs and time in jail, but many have wondered if her childhood played a part in any of that. She did have struggles in her family. Her dad was married to her mom for 22 years but filed for divorce in 2007. He struggled with alcohol and substance addiction for many years, even appearing on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. His struggles were also legal issues. He served 3 years in prison from 1990 to 1993, another year in 1997, and 2.5 years in 2004. Her mom struggled too. She was also arrested and charged with a DUI of her own. In more recent times, Lindsay's dad was back in jail in April 2021 for new charges, and her mom was charged on May 4th, 2021 on felony drunk driving. Halfway through our list at number 5 is Brandon Thomas Lee. At first thought, it might be pretty cool to have your parents be Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, but apparently it wasn't all glitz and glam like some of us might have thought. Brandon and his brother Dylan have talked about growing up in a very difficult childhood life. For one, having their mom as the biggest sex symbol in the world was a struggle, as we can imagine. But Brandon revealed that things between his parents were very toxic. The two of them got into physical altercations, and the kids were always in childcare, not being raised by the parents full time. Pamela ended up sending Brandon and Dylan to a boarding school in Canada, so they were separated for a while. As the boys grew older, they did find their way back to mend things with their mom, but in 2018, when Brandon was 24, he got into a physical altercation with his dad and actually knocked him out. Fans see Brandon talk about his relationship with his parents on The Hills, as he was added as a new cast member in the reboot series. Cruising into spot number 4 is Meatloaf. The singer has revealed a lot about his troublesome childhood during interviews and says there are so many things that he has blocked out as a way to cope with it all. He revealed his dad was an alcoholic who would disappear for a few days at a time and said he was physically towards him. As for his mom, she was sick with breast cancer for so long that he didn't have a normal relationship with her, and she sadly passed away when he was just 18. He admitted that it took him 10 years to deal with her death because he had actually run away to California to hide from the pain, and her last words to him were, "Where were you?" The struggle still stays with him to this day, but he says he's blacked out most of his childhood memories, but admits that a psychologist would probably help him deal with it better. Taking over our third spot is Ariel Winter. The actress shared her personal life with the world in recent years, revealing that she missed out on a normal childhood after living in isolation with her mom for 14 years. She grew up in the spotlight after landing a lead role on the TV series Modern Family, and admitted that she had a lonely, intense childhood due to a relationship with her now estranged mother. She explained their strained relationship and said that growing up it was just the two of them, and Ariel wasn't allowed to have connections with other people. She also said her mom emotionally and physically abused her when she was very young. At 14 years old, she emancipated herself from her mom and moved in with her sister Chanel Gray until she was 18. Once she moved out away from her mom, she was able to reconnect with her dad and said that they grew incredibly close, calling him today a great friend and a good person. Rolling into the number 2 spot, we have Britney Spears. Her tense relationship with her father has made worldwide news after people found out that he had total control over her life and finances legally and refused to give them back to her. Her father, Jamie Spears, was put under her conservatorship following her public breakdown in 2008 after she was proven to not properly be able to care or manage herself during her mental health struggles. That was over a decade ago though, and people cannot understand how he still has access since she seemed to turn her life back around. Britney has been asking the judge to permanently remove him from her conservatorship, revealing that the two of them have never had a good relationship and that he is not doing it with her best interests in mind. The hashtag Free Britney started in 2020 as the world is now petitioning for her to get the rights back to her conservatorship, which is actually split into 2 parts. One for her estate and financial affairs, and the other for her as a person. Her father still has control of both. We've made it to number 1, and we have Charlize Theron. Not many people know about her traumatic childhood, but she shared it with the world and left people completely shocked. She grew up in a farm in South Africa, and at age 13 she wanted to continue her ballet studies, so she began attending a boarding school that specializes in the arts. During a visit home when she was just 15 years old, her mother shot and took the life of her father in an act of self-defense. Turns out he was drunk and began shooting at her and then threatened to harm the children as well, so she started to shoot back. Charlize says she survived the incident, which she's very proud of, and also thanks her mom for quite literally saving her life. Starting us off at number 10 is Bella Thorne. There is a big debate going around if Bella is in the wrong for this, so I will let you guys be the judge. The OnlyFans community is not happy with Bella after she joined the app and allegedly cheated the system. This caused OnlyFans to change their payment restrictions so that users can only get paid a certain amount of money per post, including their tips. The sex workers community publicly lashed out on Bella and said that she ruined their financial potential, and for a lot of these users, OnlyFans is their full-time income. They take it very seriously, obviously, and they don't think it's fair that Bella uses it when she doesn't really need the money. obviously. Bella ended up apologizing and said she didn't know the rules and promised to make it up to some of these sex workers by promoting their OnlyFans pages and working alongside them. But former YouTuber Alicia Faith came forward with screenshots showing that she was one of these creators who was supposed to be promoted. She showed various screenshots of a group chat that Bella and her mom, who was also her manager, had created, saying they were gonna help them, but they never did. Both Bella and her mom ghosted the girls' messages in the chat. So that is basically the long story short of all this OnlyFans drama, but let me know what you guys think. I don't know if celebrities should be allowed to have OnlyFans. Up next, number 9 is Pokimane. She is one of the most popular Twitch streamers in the world, but could lose everything for breaking some of their policies. Throughout the years, she's been given warnings about breaking policies and has escaped being banned from the platform on a few different occasions, which obviously means that she's doing things that is against their guidelines. She's probably getting away with it more so than other people would because of her status. But recently, she's at risk once again for being banned after using the word simp in one of her live streams. She said the word multiple times and it grabbed Twitch's attention because they banned that use of the word along with some other words in an attempt to stop online harassment and bullying. Now, some people think it's a little ridiculous to ban words and then ban users for saying them, while others appreciate what they are trying to do. The reason she's believed to be so toxic though is not because she said the word simp. It's because she's broken policies many times, like the one time that she showed an explicit photo in one of her live streams, and she got suspended for a few days for that. Do you think she should have been banned for using the word simp? Is she toxic, or is Twitch just too strict? Let me know. Sniping her number 8 spot is Billie Eilish. Now, I personally do not think she deserves to be on this list. I think people are calling her toxic for a pretty ridiculous reason. All Billie did was participate in a new trend on Instagram called Post a Picture Of, where fans can ask her to share a photo of a specific thing. One of the responses on the trend asked her to show a picture of her phone's lock screen, so she screenshotted it and posted it to her story. Fans were thrilled that she did it, but when they saw what it was, some people had a problem with it. Her lock screen showed a waterproof painting of 2 naked women. Fans were a little confused by it, but then she was asked to post a picture of her favorite drawing, and she posted a number of sketches she had drawn of various female anatomy parts, I'll say, including breasts. She made a joke about it and captioned it with, "These probably LOL, I love boobs." Immediately after posting the photos, her followers started to drop rapidly and she lost over 100,000 followers in 30 minutes. She's only 18 years old and I can understand why her audience may be younger, but do you think that she deserved to lose that many followers because of this? Like, to me, this was not toxic behavior. However, some people think it was. And spot number 7, we got Sean Kingston. I mean, what's more toxic than not paying your bills and having warrants out for your arrest? It has been many years since he was taking over the pop music scene in Hollywood, so it might be a surprise that you see his name on this list. Somehow, he's always kept a name for himself though, even though he hasn't really put out music in years, probably a decade. Despite the fact he's been living a more quiet life, he has still made headlines throughout the years, but all for reasons that you would not want to. Police told TMZ there is a warrant out for his arrest right now, and he is facing grand theft charges due to unpaid jewelry bills. Apparently, he has had issues with paying off his jewelry in the past and has actually been sued a few times because of it. Police say they do not plan to actively search for him, but the warrant has been officially filed. His bail was set to $45,000 and he could be sentenced up to 3 years in prison if he is convicted. He has not commented on this, but honestly he seems very unbothered by it. Even though the warrant is public news now, he still continues to show off his fancy jewelry on his Instagram. You know, like the jewelry that he did not pay for. Moving on to number 6, we have Logan Paul. One of the reasons he left the YouTube scene was because of his bad decision that he made back in 2017, but it is finally catching up to him now. He has apologized many times for one mistake in particular, but it still wasn't enough to escape a lawsuit. If you missed what happened in 2017, he vlogged his visit with his friends to the Japanese suicide forest where they unexpectedly came across a real dead body. In the video, they could be seen laughing, and the body was actually shown in the final cut that he had posted to YouTube. People thought it was unacceptable and very insensitive to the person who had committed suicide and and also their loved ones. Logan ended up losing a multi-million-dollar licensing agreement with Google, and he slowly just shied away from YouTube. But a few years later, in December 2020, a company called Plainlist Pictures sued him and demanded he pay $3.5 million. In 2016, they produced a film with Logan called Airplane Mode and had the agreement with Google that YouTube would promote and distribute the film. But since Logan lost his agreement after his video, the film company is going after the $3.5 million that Google was actually supposed to pay. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but Logan has openly admitted to his mistake and he has apologized for it. But will he have to pay for it? That is the question. Halfway through our list, on number 5 is Gabby DiMartino. Whether she meant her actions to be toxic or not, we won't truly know, but she says that it was all done in innocent fun. The 25-year-old YouTuber was suspended on OnlyFans last month after she shocked her viewers with disturbing content that involved a video of a child. The child was actually her when she was a young girl. She was charging her fans $3 to view a video of her flashing the camera when she was just like a child. It was weird. She was kind of like dancing around, singing, and she lifted up her dress. I don't know why you would post it. People were confused with the content, and it prompted serious concerns that could have led her to get arrested. People immediately started questioning if they were set up to view, possess, or distribute what they would refer to as CP. Now, this is an acronym that we use here on YouTube because I cannot say the actual words. In the United States, this is a Class D felony, so she could be in big trouble. Even if it's not right now, this could come back to haunt her. She was immediately suspended from the app, but at the time of this recording, she has not been charged with any crime yet. She did apologize after the incident and said the video was meant to be funny. She said, "It was a home video I love to share with my friends, and I use my OnlyFans as a Finsta page where I share stuff as I would with friends." I don't even know why you would share that with friends, but okay. Next up at number 4 is Trisha Paytas. The 32-year-old has had a long, successful career so far, but one that is filled with tons of drama and controversy. She has almost lost her career on multiple occasions, but somehow is able to keep going. But this year she has caused quite the stir on TikTok after starting drama with teens who are half her age. Through a variety of videos, she began calling out TikTok stars like Charli D'Amelio, Dixie D'Amelio, Emma Nortz, and Brooklyn XO, all of which are teenagers. She pulls up some of their content and then reacts to it in her TikTok videos and comments on their behavior. She is constantly accusing them of not being good influences to their younger audience, and fans are tired of her going after teens. She started getting accused of bullying and began getting attacked for attacking younger girls online. It's really just a bunch of unnecessary drama. In my opinion, she has every right not to find their content appropriate, like to each their own, but to make videos on it and publicly call them out, that is just creating drama. Let these teens just figure it out on their own. Let them grow up. They have parents, you're not their mom. Just is the generation we're living in right now. Taking over our third spot is Shia LaBeouf. It is hard to narrow down which part of his behavior is the most toxic, but throughout the years we have learned that his struggle with substance abuse has played a big part in it. There have been multiple moments throughout his career when fans thought it would be the end to everything that he had. His angry outbursts and trouble with the law have cost him tons of jobs and personal relationships. But at the end of 2020, allegations surfaced which could prove he's a lot more toxic than anyone ever even realized. Recently, his ex-girlfriend FKA Twigs sued him and accused him of sexual battery, assault, and infliction of emotional distress. The lawsuit was filled with disturbing details of the abuse she faced while dating him for a few years, even claiming that he had killed innocent stray dogs and then called it method acting. She expressed that he is very dangerous for women and that she feared for her life on multiple occasions while she was with him. Shia has responded to the claims and admitted that he was abusive towards himself and others in his past and blamed it on his substance abuse. But he still denies some of the claims and said that not everything in her lawsuit is true. We are not sure what the lawsuit will lead to, but his lawyer has revealed that he is seeking long-term inpatient treatment. Coming in at number 2 is Jake Paul. The YouTuber was recently feuding online with fighter Dylan Dennis, but then he took things a little bit too far by publicly attacking him. No, he did not fight him. He actually drove by him on the street when he was doing an interview and then pelted water balloons and toilet paper at him from a pickup truck. It literally sounds like an elementary slumber party. The videos from the prank, or whatever you want to call it, went viral instantly. Fans started attacking Jake, saying that what he did was childish and immature, but then rumors began to spread claiming that the whole thing was staged. Both of them kept tweeting after the incident happened, which obviously fueled the fire between them, but fans investigated the video clips and are convinced that it was just one big publicity stunt, which just pissed them off even more. Honestly, whether it was staged or not, both options are just equally as ridiculous and immature, in my opinion. In the number 1 spot is Lil Wayne. The legendary rapper is facing some serious charges right now and could lose everything after his upcoming trial. There seems to be a pattern of behavior when it comes to having firearms in his possession. He was recently charged with possessing a firearm as a formerly convicted felon. That is right, this is not his first time facing charges for having an illegal firearm in his possession. He actually has a prior felony gun possession record from New York and was only charged for the new firearm despite being caught with marijuana, cocaine, and other drugs when the incident happened. The incident actually happened at Miami Airport over a year ago, but the charges did not catch up to him until now. He ended up pleading guilty in hopes that his sentence will be lighter. He is currently facing up to 10 years in prison, but after pleading guilty, he may get much less than that. His sentencing hearing is January 28th, so we will just have to wait and see what happens. But it is coming close.
In at number 10, Drake and Kanye West. Drake and Kanye started off as friends and collaborators. When Drake was coming up in the industry, Kanye helped him a lot. He produced some of Drake's early hits, as well as even directing one of his music videos. But things all changed when Pusha T exposed that Drake had a son that he was hiding from the world. And Drake assumed that Kanye was the person that gave Pusha that information. The two feuded on and off, but their feud reached new heights with the release of their albums Donda and Certified Lover Boy. In the lead up to the releases, Kanye threatened Drake in a group chat and leaked his address after Drake called out Kanye on a Trippie Redd song. Both albums are released, and as of now, Kanye has the number 1 on the Billboard charts, while Drake broke Spotify and Apple Music's single-day streaming record. And at number 9, Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. It might be hard for some of you to believe, but Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo were actually besties at one point in time, and I guess they proved that men and women can be good friends too. According to Ruffalo, while shooting the film 13 Going on 30, he and Garner became very close. They were talking a lot and becoming best friend status. That was until Ben Affleck came into the picture. After Jen and Ben started getting serious, her friendship with Mark Ruffalo started to dwindle. We're not sure if it was a natural thing or if Ben Affleck was uncomfortable with how close they were. When asked by a fan if he and Jennifer were still friends, Mark said, quote, "We had a great time together and I think we would have, but then Ben came on the scene and that was the end of that." So clearly he's still a little salty. And at number 8, Leighton Meester and Blake Lively. These two were co-stars in the hit show Gossip Girl, and since they played best friends, it's natural that they became close in real life. But it seems their characters' fate matched their behavior in real life, and the two became frenemies fast. Apparently, the relationship between them got tense during the last 2 seasons of filming, but the last straw between them was when Blake did not congratulate Leighton on her engagement to Adam Brody. After this, they basically didn't speak again. It was so tense their co-stars even commented on it. Chase Crawford said about the ladies, quote, "There are obviously always little dramas. You're on set for 16 hours, so people get irritable. In any workplace, there are always little things and frustrations." And at number 7, Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez. These two became friends when they were toddlers acting on Barney and Friends. As they grew up, they stayed friends because they were both becoming Disney stars. But their close relationship turned to jealousy fast because they were both competing for essentially the same spot. Other friendships also got in the way, notably the relationship between Selena and Taylor Swift, which Demi did not approve of. This led to the pair unfollowing and then re-following each other on countless occasions, although it did seem that most of the animosity was coming from Demi. It seems that Selena has tried to stay cordial with Demi, and she has publicly supported Demi on a number of occasions, but Demi has not done the same back. A few years ago, a Finsta belonging to Demi was found that bashed Selena on multiple occasions, but apparently that turned out to be fake. As of now, it's hard to know where they stand, but it's safe to say they are not friends. And at number 6, Biggie and Tupac. These two rappers signified the great divide between the East and the West Coast of America. However, before they were feuding, they were actually good friends. These two were the biggest names in the 90s, and Tupac even supported Biggie while he was coming up in the industry. Biggie said, quote, "We just clicked off the top and we're cool ever since." But things got tense between them after Tupac was called to a New York studio and was robbed and shot 5 times. He thankfully survived, but he was sure that Biggie was involved. However, Biggie vehemently denied this. Over the years, the West Coast Coast versus East Coast divide got even deeper, and the pair were bad-mouthing each other in the press and in their music. Things between them were never reconciled because both men were killed in drive-by shootings months apart from the other. Tupac was shot first, and many believe that Biggie was actually involved. Halfway number 5, Drake Bell and Josh Peck. These two were best friends on and off screen when they acted alongside each other on The Amanda Show, which led to them getting their own hit show, Drake and Josh. The duo seemed to remain friendly after their child stardom ended, but it seemed that they drifted apart as they aged, and both men went along different paths. Things reached a head in their relationship when Josh Peck got married and didn't invite Drake Bell to the wedding. Drake was not happy and tweeted out for the world to see. He tweeted, quote, "True colors have come out today, message is loud and clear, ties are officially cut. I'll miss you, brother." There was some speculation if it was about the wedding, which Bell confirmed when he also tweeted, quote, "When you aren't invited to the wedding, the message is clear." After the story went viral, Josh responded that he was deeply hurt by Bell's tweets, but he also clarified the two hadn't really been friends for years. And at number 4, Seth Rogen and James Franco. Seth Rogen and James Franco have collaborated on countless movies together. They've been friends and collaborators since the beginning of their careers, but that all changed recently when Seth Rogen stated that he is no longer planning to collaborate with Franco after reports of multiple accusations of misconduct against women on the set of his movies. These allegations started in 2018. Since then, multiple women have come forward. When asked about his friendship with Franco, he didn't give a straight answer, but said, quote, "I don't know if I can define that right now during this interview. I can say, it has changed many things in our relationship and our dynamic." In at number 3, Kylie Jenner and Jordan Woods. This is probably the messiest one on this list, so of course I had to give you a quick refresher. Kylie and Jordan were besties since childhood, and they grew up doing practically everything together. They even lived together as adults, and Jordan starred in Kylie's reality series, Life of Kylie. Their friendship not only boosted Jordan's clout, but gave her real business opportunities with the family. But that all changed when Jordan hooked up with Tristan Thompson, Khloe's baby daddy and boyfriend at the time. The whole thing was an absolute mess, and as a result, Jordan was cut from the family, including her friendship with Kylie. Jordan ended up going on Red Table Talk and claiming that the interaction she had with Tristan was small, but Khloe called her a liar on Twitter and claimed it was much more. As of now, the relationship is still very tense. And at number 2, the Kardashians and Larsa Pippen. If there's one thing to know about the Kardashians, they keep their circle very small, and once you break their trust, it's over. Kim and the rest of the family have been friends with Larsa for decades, but all of a sudden in 2020, the Kardashians and Larsa unfollowed each other on social media, making it clear they were not friends anymore. After rumors started swirling, Larsa claimed nothing bad happened and it was just a falling out. However, months later, she spilled some tea on a podcast, saying that Kanye was most likely the reason for their falling out. Apparently he used to call her at 3 and 4 in the morning and rant to Larsa, but it got too much so she blocked him. She then insinuated that Kim had a problem with this and potentially thought Larsa was doing something shady with Kanye, which Larsa denies. And finally, number 1, Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell. These two became known for their hilarious sitcom called Kenan and Kel. They were also both child stars living a very similar life, so it's no wonder that they became best friends during this time. But sadly, as they grew up, their friendship did not last. In 2012, Mitchell told TMZ that Thompson hadn't spoken to him in years, saying, quote, "The truth is Kenan does not want to be seen with me in any form of media or even have my name mentioned around him. I respect his choice of wanting to make a name for himself solo." It seems that these comments actually resonated with Kenan as he contacted Kel shortly after, and they reconciled their differences. They even became so close that they reprised their Good Burger sketch on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and now the pair work as executive producers on the All That revival, so it seems their relationship is closer than ever.
At number 10, Amber Heard and Kate James. Amber Heard lost a friend due to her actions towards Johnny Depp and her disregard for others. The actress's former friend and assistant Kate James exposed her for her hurtful actions on multiple occasions. During the libel case between Johnny Depp and The Sun publication, we saw testimonies from several people who were close to the couple, but none came close to that of Amber's ex-assistant Kate James. Kate went on record and said that Johnny was mentally and physically hurt by Amber during the time that she worked with her between 2012 and 2015. She also went on to disclose how the beginning of Amber and Johnny's relationship went, saying that Amber would, quote, "speak in disparaging terms about him and would say things that she was, quote, dating an old man." Kate also went on to expose how Amber would copy Johnny's lifestyle. She commented on the fact that upon beginning their relationship, Amber would start behaving weirdly in comparison to her true personality. She also went on to say that Amber, quote, "went through an odd change that almost morphed her into a version of Depp." Kate really exposed Amber for who she was behind the scenes, being
seeing that they spent so much time together. She did not hold back, especially after being betrayed by her when Amber retold a traumatic story from Kate's life and pawned it off as if it was her own. This friendship was super toxic and ended badly. At number 9, Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder. Gwen and Winona were once really good friends, and they were seen out tons of times and even lived together at one point. They were two peas in a pod, but everything ended because of their competitiveness when it came to a Hollywood role. Apparently, both of the ladies auditioned for the lead role in Shakespeare in Love, but Gwyneth ended up snagging the role, and then even went on to win Best Actress at the Oscars for the role. It was a big victory for Gwen, but a gut punch for Winona. Then years later, when Winona was going through some rough times and she was busted for shoplifting, Gwen took a dig at her, writing in a newsletter saying, quote, "Back in the day, I had a friend of me who was pretty hell-bent on taking me down. I restrained myself fighting back. I tried to take the high road, but one day I heard something unfortunate and humiliating that happened to this person, and my reaction was deep relief and happiness." End quote. They were so close, but Hollywood just got the best of them, and the toxicity of the industry took them down. Before we carry on talking about those celebrity friendships that crashed and burned, I just want to take a quick moment to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and also consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Taylor Swift and Kim K. Here's a case of on and off again frenemies that just got really messy. So back in 2016, there was some beef between Taylor Swift and Kanye. Basically, Taylor said that she was really upset about some lyrics that Kanye had included in one of his songs that he had released at the time. She told fans that she never heard those lyrics and that she never approved of them, but Kim sensed something a little fishy about Taylor. The singer and their Kardashian West had only just reconciled after the whole VMA debacle, but it seemed like their friendship wasn't built to last since Kim decided to expose Taylor for lying about the lyrics. Kim shared a video that she had secretly recorded of Kanye on the phone with Taylor sharing lyrics to his song, and when he involved her name in them, she said it was a compliment and that she approved, even calling him a friend for sharing. Kim doesn't always get involved in Kanye's drama, but when she does, she has receipts and you know she's gonna share them. On top of that, Taylor obviously made a song about their friend breakup and dished about the whole situation, so I guess in a way they both betrayed each other. At number 7, Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie were the best of friends at one point, practically inseparable, but everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked, and by the Fire Nation, I mean Nicole. Nicole decided to allegedly expose Paris and play her adult film at one of her parties. Their friendship pretty much crashed and burned at that point, leaving the two of them at odds. While this incident was only speculation and rumors, and it was never confirmed by either party, this portrayal seems to be the reigning theory as to what happened between them and why they had such a big falling out, because they stopped speaking to each other and they were no longer seen in public together, and something serious had to have happened for these BFFs to have such a falling out. The only time Paris really spoke out about her breakup with her bestie was during an interview where she said, quote, "It's no big secret that Nicole and I are no longer friends. Nicole knows what she did, and that's all I'm ever going to say about it." End quote. At number 6, Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker. When Sex and the City was at its peak, everyone just pretty much assumed that the leading ladies were all best friends because they looked so close on TV. But we found out later that this was definitely not the case. After the third movie was taken off the table because of Cattrall's refusal to do the film, this is when the truth of the matter started to show. But the feud really came to a head after Cattrall's brother passed away, and Sarah Jessica Parker wrote a message of condolence to her former colleague on social media. Cattrall was not having it and clapped back to Sarah Jessica Parker's message by writing, quote, "Your continuous reaching out is a painful reminder of how cruel you really were then and now. Let me make this very clear. You are not my friend. So I'm writing to tell you one last time to stop exploiting our tragedy in order to restore your nice girl persona." End quote. This made it clear that there was a lot of built-up tension between them. Cattrall has addressed the fight numerous times, saying that the mean girl culture of the show is really what destroyed it. At number 5, James Charles and Tati Westbrook. James and Tati's falling out is probably one of the best examples of a toxic friendship. This whole bi-sister scandal from 2019 saw their entire relationship torn apart in the matter of one video. James and Tati famously had a relationship dating all the way back to the beginning of James's career, but Tati suddenly decided to cut ties with him after he posted at Coachella endorsing Sugar Bear Hair, the competitor to Tati's vitamin company. She then proceeded to expose him for his endorsement, and she could have stopped there, but she decided to also expose him for his alleged misconduct with other people as well. She claimed that James was trying to, quote, "manipulate someone's sexuality," and she referenced a specific incident that went down in 2019 at her birthday party. Though James thought of Tati as some kind of parental figure, she still decided to publicly cut ties with James, thus beginning the whole Dramageddon fiasco fiasco. Their falling out and subsequent drama roped so many other people into the mess as well, and a lot of people lost friends and followers. It was incredibly messy and overly toxic. At number 4, Little Mix. On October 8th of this year, former Little Mix member Jessie Nelson released her music video for her song Boys featuring Nicki Minaj, and this ended up causing a lot of drama. After the video dropped, backlash ensued as viewers immediately started speculating on whether or not Jessie was deliberately trying to portray herself as a black woman for content, and people started calling her out for blackfishing. In the Boys video, fans pointed out that Jessie was using a lot of black-centric aesthetics, most notably a darker tan, but with this blackfishing controversy came more drama as people started looking into Jessie's past with Little Mix. Soon one of the girl group's members came forward to say that she had actually warned Jessie about blackfishing and how it's wrong, but Jessie still did it anyway, and she even went so far as to claim that no one had ever commented on it until this video came out. This caused people to take a deeper look into Jessie's falling out with the group and the toxic friendships that they had. The downfall of Little Mix became a hot topic for a while with people taking sides, but the bottom line is that all of this ended badly for everyone and no one came out on top. At number 3, Heidi Montag and Lauren Conrad. Heidi and Lauren were the it girls of reality TV back in the early 2000s when they starred in the hit show The Hills, but in 2007 their friendship ended when Heidi Montag and her boyfriend Spencer spread a rumor that Lauren made an explicit tape with her boyfriend Jason. After the rumors started spreading through entertainment news like wildfire, Lauren decided to come forward about everything and commented on her website writing, quote, "We did not make a tape. Jason and I are both shocked and hurt that people would say such horrible things about us. I can't believe that somebody would go to such great lengths to try and damage my reputation." End quote. This situation got even worse when Lauren still had to shoot season 3 of The Hills, and that season is where the fight came to a head, and there was an epic fight on camera between the reality TV stars. This fight was so bad that it still triggers some people, showing that this falling out was as bad as they come. At number 2, Zayn Malik and Perry Edwards. Yes, Zayn and Perry were in a relationship, but they were friends too, at least until the toxicity came in and ruined everything. The couple had started dating in 2012 and were engaged in 2013, but things soon turned sour after, and there's been a lot of hate in the mix there too. At first, when news of their split broke, there was little to no information about it other than reports that Zayn had asked Perry to move out of the house that they had shared together, and neither one of them were really talking about what happened between them, but things got heated when Zayn retweeted a tweet that said retweet for Fifth Harmony's Worth It or favorite for Little Mix's Black Magic. Instead of vote for his ex-girlfriend's music group, he voted for her competition, and fans immediately started the hashtag Zayn has no chill. Soon enough, Perry bounced back from the breakup and said things in her song Shout Out to My Ex about Zayn. The end of their relationship was messy to say the least, and a lot of people got roped into the drama, which just fueled the negativity surrounding the whole situation. And finally, at number 1, Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber. Before Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber were a couple, they were pretty close friends, but now they're at odds after their toxic relationship went up in flames. They started dating in 2011 when they were still teenagers, and from that point they had a rocky time together. They were on and off again for a while before finally ending things for good in 2018 when Hailey Baldwin came along. People were already aware of how toxic Selena and Justin's relationship was simply because of how many times they had public breakups and makeups, but in early 2020, Selena came forward to talk more in depth about their relationship and how she experienced mistreatment. Selena said that she was, quote, a victim of certain things, saying that what she felt was emotional mistreatment from Justin. She also went on to say that it took her a long time to find strength in her experiences and to shake her, quote, victim mentality. End quote. Justin never released a statement in response, but in late 2019 he did open up about his actions in past relationships, saying that he became, quote, resentful, disrespectful to women, and angry. It's heartbreaking to hear just how bad things were between them, and the fact that they aren't together is probably for the best.
Number 10. Percy Hines-White. When the Netflix series Wednesday premiered last year, the world collectively agreed that it was fantastic. It was dark, fun, mysterious, and it was well written for the most part. The only side plot that really added nothing to the show was the love triangle between Wednesday, the coffee shop boy, and Percy Hines-White. Percy is a young up-and-coming actor who's appeared in plenty of TV shows and films in his short career. Wednesday skyrocketed him to a new level of recognition, which might be the cause of the allegations that were thrown his way earlier this year. An unnamed woman claimed that he mistreated her when they were living in Toronto. In June, he posted on his Instagram telling people that he needed to clear something up. According to Percy, he doesn't actually know who this woman is, and because of her misinformation, his his family and friends were doxxed and received threats to end their lives. He continued to say that in addition to people using underage photos and examples of him acting in character to present him as hateful, he concluded his post by saying that the misinformation was distressing as well as thanked those who supported his efforts. After the hashtag #CancelPercy gained momentum on Twitter, the accusations began to grow. So much hate just from a rumor started on Twitter when there's no legal accusations, proof of anything, it's just fans gone wild. Number 9, Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart was set to host the Oscars back in 2019, but he was fired last minute after a stand-up bit and a series of tweets had resurfaced that painted him as anti-LGBTQ+. In 2009, Kevin sent out a series of tweets that contained jokes about his feelings about his son potentially coming out in the future, making comments that he would break a dollhouse over his head if he saw him playing with it. He said some harsher stuff that I will not repeat and no one should look up because it's a little bit rough, and I can understand why a lot of people found the comments rude and damaging, because they were. At the time, the comments didn't go unnoticed, but at the time they flew under the radar in terms of media coverage. He then repeated the jokes on stage in his Seriously Funny special. There are also a few homophobic jokes written into the script of the film Get Hard, which I have seen, and I do agree it's a little bit much. In 2015, when asked about the tweets, he told people that he would not be repeating the jokes that he made today, but that the only reason was because the times had been too sensitive. When he was announced as a host in 2018, the internet put a case together as to why he shouldn't be the host. The Oscars were forced to fire him in the role due to the alarming number of hate mail they were receiving on a daily basis. Before they actually let him go, they did give him an option to either apologize and own up or be let go. When Hart released a statement on Instagram, he decided to pass on an apology because he had apparently addressed it several times and acknowledged the rights and wrongs of the incident. The statement only led to more online outrage and sparked a debate, but the next day he released a separate statement apologizing for his actions and words, and especially to the community he insulted. Number 8, Liam Neeson. Liam is a prolific actor. He might be a terrible dad on screen, but he is a great actor. Unfortunately, his acting skills were nowhere to be found when he was being interviewed by The Independent. As part of the interview, the conversation veered into life versus art, and if there was anything that had happened to him in his real life that influenced his film roles. This prompted Liam to tell the person interviewing him that he once walked the streets with a stabby-jabby pen for weeks, just hoping to take his anger out after someone close to him was physically mistreated by a person of color. Liam said that he was ashamed of his actions, but his remarks sparked widespread outrage. The interview was to promote the film Cold Pursuit, which is exactly what it sounds like, and the interviewer asked many questions, including how his character turns to anger, and he replied, "Something primal kicks in." He then went on a tangent about what one goes through when a family member close to you is hurt and there is nothing that can be done. He told a story that I can't repeat because of the heavy subject matter, but it was so intense that journalists interviewing him told BBC News that anyone hearing the thoughts he was reporting here would be shocked and appalled in many ways. He himself has said that he's ashamed to think of the way that he used to say and do things, and he is of course shocked at how awful he became. He received a ton of backlash, but so far he hasn't been cancelled. Number 7, Casey Affleck. Casey has had an interesting career. Being the brother of Ben Affleck has had its advantages. However, he was able to build a career for himself away from his brother to the point where he now has an Oscar for Manchester by the Sea. 1 year after he got that Oscar, he gave his first candid interview about the allegations that he had mistreated two women on the set of his independent film I'm Still Here. Affleck directed and produced the mockumentary and admitted in an interview that the teleprompter glitched and now it is a blue screen. Affleck directed and produced the mockumentary and admitted in an interview that the set was unprofessional. He admitted that he was the main contributor to the situation and took responsibilities for his actions. He then admitted that he made major mistakes and used poor judgment. It was one of the first movies that he had ever actually directed, and he was unsure of what his role was, according to himself. Meanwhile, the actual allegations range from Casey sneaking into bed with a woman to himself and the star of the film, Joaquin Phoenix, locking themselves in a hotel room with some ladies of the night. Affleck denied the allegations for a long time, but after admitting to his misdeeds, nothing really happened. Like, he was cancelled in the eyes of the media and by his fans, but he still works, he writes, he produces films to this day. It's in smaller capacities, but still. Number 6, Tom Cruise. While Tom may be an action movie star and was once a young Hollywood heartthrob, he actually has a massive temper. According to both former assistants as well as several co-stars from his past, Cruise is a regular toddler and is known to throw tantrums, being set off by small things. His former manager, Eileen Berlin, presented him with a gift on his 19th birthday. She gave him an album of teen magazine articles that were written about him, and apparently that set him off. He told his manager that he considered himself an adult, not a teen idol, and then whipped the book in her face. Another example of Tom's aggression was on display during the filming of the sequel to Top Gun: Maverick. During this time, Tom and the rest of the film film crew were tasked to film on an actual aircraft carrier that was still in use by the military. One of the crew posted on Twitter calling out the audacity of Tom's behavior. He tweeted that Tom Cruise was actually on their ship telling people not to talk or look at him. After a few choice words, the crewmate made it very clear that Tom would never be welcome aboard the vessel again. These are just two examples though. Tom has blown up on film crews several times in the past, to the point where his Mission Impossible 2 co-stars are constantly scared of him on set and what he may freak out about next. Number 5. Taylor Swift. Unpopular opinion here. Taylor's tyranny of torment must end now. Taylor Swift has made a name for herself as a person who thrives on the ending of a relationship. Since the late 2000s, Taylor has been making millions in the music industry. Her songs like Love Story and 22 are anthems to many. The catchy tunes tend to come from a place of so-called heartache, however. Taylor has thanked her exes on several occasions for inspiring the songs that made her who she is today. People like Tom Hiddleston, Harry Styles, Jake Gyllenhaal all have had a part to play in the inception of some true bops. The argument can and should be made that Taylor just needs to chill. She has made several songs that were good without the need to berate an ex, and some of those songs are pretty revealing. Imagine if after you broke up with someone, there was a song that popped up on your phone by U2 called Why They Left You. Number 4. Ariana Grande. Now she's got one less problem without you, and honestly we'd probably be fine with that. Ariana rose to fame on the hit Nick series Victorious before spinning off and becoming a pop singing sensation. While she may be a good girl and good impressionist on screen, just ask Jimmy Fallon, behind the scenes she's reportedly cold, quiet, and a lot like Taylor Swift, she hates on her exes through song. When she broke up with Saturday Night Live alumni Pete Davidson, she released a song called Pete Davidson, blatantly singing and trashing about her ex-fiance. The song made her a lot of money, of which Pete received none. If you're gonna trash someone, at least give them a little piece of that cheddar. On top of this, her behavior in general has been pretty chaotic. She once left a meet and greet because she didn't like the way the photos were turning out. Those people paid hundreds of dollars and she was like, yeah, thank you, next. In 2015, a video surfaced of Ariana visiting a Californian donut shop. The owners were beyond excited to see her until she began licking donuts and then putting them back on the shelves. According to the shop owners, those donuts were never paid for and they had to be thrown away. They really should have preserved them and sold them online though, because some people are weird. This incident also got her nixed from performing at a White House event despite multiple public apologies. The darkest of stories comes from a Hollywood insider though and has not been confirmed to be 100% true. The man in question was working with Ariana at a signing event and apparently she was all smiles until the event was over and they got in the elevator. According to them, her first words as the doors closed were, "I hope they all frickin' perish." Only she didn't say perish. Kinda makes you realize why Nickelodeon stars aren't as popular as adults. Number 3. Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey may echo in your skull around this time of year, but according to most, you should really keep that space in your head reserved for someone else, maybe Michael Bublé. Mariah has been known to be a bit of a diva over the years, apparently making outlandish requests and taking part in some really strange moments. For instance, when giving birth to her children, Mariah had the doctors play a live version of her song Fantasy, so that her voice was the first thing that they heard in the world. Unfortunately, it was on shuffle and it played Bird as the Word. No, but that would have been fantastic and scarred them for life. She's walked out of presidential events because she wasn't the center of attention. She makes people speak to her with a whiteboard the night before performances to preserve her voice, and literally made someone roll out a red carpet for her when she walks out of vehicles. Like that lady from Guardians of the Galaxy. Just is literally someone's job to crouch down and go just all day. Needless to say, she's currently classified as a diva, but honestly we should classify her as canceled, because all I want for Christmas is a new song. Number 2. Jared Leto. Jared Leto is an interesting fellow. Hey, it rhymes. He started his own religious group, he brings a new meaning to the word method acting, and let's face it, he kinda sucks. Over the past few years, reports from Jared's fellow actors are anything but positive. When he was the Joker, he left his fellow castmates use adult devices, pig heads, and live snakes in their trailers as gifts. He was trying to stay method as the Joker, but anyone on the receiving end of those gifts just wish he would go away. On top of that, he's been known to stay in character, meaning that if he's playing someone who's angry or silent, that's how he's gonna be the entire time he's on set. This guy hasn't really been questioned for his actions at any point in recent history, only being called a weirdo, and then we just leave it at that. With his career still well on the rise, here's hoping Jared will eventually be called out for good and added to Hollywood's no-no list. Number 1. Morgan Freeman. Yes, the voice of God god himself, Morgan Freeman, has been a soothing soul for many, many years. To this day, families can hear Morgan narrate the world around them in an immersive 360 IMAX screen at the Science Center in Toronto. He may be a comfort to some, but according to a few women, Morgan is actually their nightmare. Morgan has been accused of inappropriate behavior on multiple occasions between 1991 and 2015. According to one production assistant from the film Going in Style, which is a bank heist movie featuring himself, Michael Caine, and Alan Arkin, Freeman subjected her to unwanted touching and comments about her figure and clothing on a near daily basis. "Gentlemen, lend me your ear. This move is rarely well received. Get a new move." According to her, in one instance, Freeman attempted to lift her skirt and asked to see her underclothes. She was not the only one to speak out though. A senior member of the production staff on the film, Now You See Me Too, told CNN that Freeman harassed her and her female assistant on numerous occasions, making similar comments to figures and clothing. I could go on with more and more examples, but to save some time, I will boil it down for you. Morgan Freeman is a little creepy, and I'm sorry to say it, but this dude needs to retire as soon as possible.